Is this a realistic possibility? Could Deion Primetime Sanders and his son, Shedeur Sanders, end up in Dallas? I'm going to tell you why coming up on 4 Verts. It's not as crazy as you might think it is. All right, before we jump into the prime time rumors, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. We're bringing you NFL, college football content on a daily basis. We'll have a Thursday night football reaction show tonight as well. Big one, as we got the Eagles and Commanders first place on the line in the NFC East. And listen, once we get to 5,000 subscribers, we're going to start doing some live shows. We're just under 500 subs away, 4,502. Help us get there. More content. Let's make it happen. Let's go. All right, let's talk a little prime time in Dallas. The rumors are circulating. A report actually just dropped as I started filming this. Jordan Schultz saying that Deion Sanders has not had communication with other schools or NFL teams, that he's focused on winning at Colorado this season. Didn't say anything about the future. So to me, that doesn't rule anything out. But as far as the Dallas Cowboys go, a lot of national media leaning into this one when it comes to Jerry Jones, Deion in Dallas, perhaps Shedeur as well. As, listen, the Cowboys are in shambles. Jerry's been under the spotlight. Mike McCarthy, who we'll get to in a minute, his job status isn't exactly secure. And guys like Stephen A. Smith, Paul Feinbaum, I think, was on board with this. Although Florida State is another suggestion he had, as he could end up at his alma mater. Who knows? Here is what I do know, is that Deion Sanders and Shedeur Sanders have been one of the bigger stories in college football for 2 years now. Obviously, it flamed out last year. Colorado lost 6 out of their final 7, I believe it was. And coming into this year, people were very skeptical, myself included. Deion was getting chippy with the media. They got blown out by Nebraska early in the season. And I remember saying, is Deion just going to finish this year out? Then he's done coaching. Travis will go pro. Shedeur will go pro. He'll just hang it up. Well, now Shedeur Sanders is playing lights out. Travis Hunter is a Heisman Trophy contender. And Deion has Colorado on the verge of making the Big 12 championship game, which means if they win that, they would be in the college football playoff. I don't think this is as crazy as you think it is. The idea that Dallas could take a big swing here, that Deion Sanders could end up in Dallas. And I've got a few reasons for why I don't think it's as crazy as you might think it is. Number one, Mike McCarthy's done. He's out. A lot of people thought he should have been fired last year after the way they got embarrassed by the Packers in the first round of the playoffs, despite being at home and a huge favorite. This year, things were not going well. Then Dak got hurt, and now they just got no chance to win. There's a very real possibility that Dallas doesn't win many more games. And the reality is that he's playing the final year out of his coaching contract. They may not label him with a firing, but they're just not going to give him a new deal. And he's going to be gone, which means Jerry Jones, who loves the headline, loves making a splash, loves the attention, is going to have to hire a new coach. And would it shock any of you if he at least considered Deion Sanders? He's not an idiot. He's one of the greatest marketers of all time. Like, he knows that if Deion Sanders became his head coach, the media would be all over. A lot of people would love it. A lot of people would hate it. It would draw a ton of conversation. And Jerry is the ultimate, regardless if it's good or bad press, I want it all. I mean, that's who he is. This year it's been a lot of bad press, but he even admitted after that whole story came out about the distractions with the tours at the practice facility, he went on radio and said, we've never had more tours. Cha-ching, more money in his pocket, more headlines around his football team. He doesn't care if it's good or bad. Now, the question is this. Would Deion do it? Would Deion take it? Because he has been on the record that he's not interested in the NFL. He thinks his style is better suited for the college game. Now, I would have to think that the idea of coaching the Cowboys, America's team, a team he knows well, a team he played for, Jerry Jones and an owner he knows very well. By the way, their current defensive coordinator, Mike Zimmer, was on his staff at Colorado last year. It hasn't exactly gone well, but if he wanted to keep him, he could do that. But most importantly, what if the Cowboys, despite just paying Dak Prescott, and we'll get to that in a minute, were willing to draft his son? We're willing to draft Shedeur and say, hey, Deion, I know you've said you're not interested in the NFL. Would you be if we drafted Shedeur? Because the Cowboys could very well be in position to do exactly that, because they might lose out or win just one more game. And if they're picking in the top 5 or 6 or even top 2 or 3, depending on how bad this thing bottoms out, they're going to be in position to draft him if they want to. Now, again, we'll get to the Dak part of this in a second. Most people would say drafting a QB doesn't make sense for them, but they really want Deion, and if Jerry wants that headline, weirder things have happened. Here's what I do know. You cannot dismiss what Deion has done at Colorado. And again, I doubted it a lot coming into this year. It finished so poorly last year. They were all over the place. They couldn't block. They couldn't tackle. It was just ugly. They had Shedeur Sanders, a good college quarterback, Travis Hunter, and a bunch of guys who didn't look like they belonged. Well, now they're getting more solid play from other players. Shedeur's gotten even better. Hunter's a Heisman guy. And they're 7-2, and if they win out, they're in the Big 12 championship game, which means they'd be one win away from the college football playoff. Like, you can't dismiss the turnaround. He took over a one-win team, won 4 games last year, despite the awful finish. That was still a 3-win improvement. He's already won 7 this year, and he's going to be favored in the next 3 games, and if he wins those, he's 10-2 in the Big 12 championship game, likely in the top 12, top 15 in the country, 1 win away from an automatic berth into the college football playoff. Like, you can't dismiss what he's done at Colorado, a program that, since they initially left for the Pac-12 and now came back to the Big 12, this is the first time they've been relevant in like 15 years. I mean, they've been a joke for a very, very long time. So you got to give him credit for that. I have no idea if he would fit in the NFL. I do think some teams would be interested. I definitely think other college programs will be interested. And I got to think, if he had the chance to coach his son Shedeur, who he's already on record for saying he will privately shut down certain teams from drafting him to protect his son, which, whether you think that's cool or not, that's certainly up for debate. Well, if he's the coach, that's a lot of control he would have over that situation. Here's the one big question. Could Dallas do it? Would they do it? They just set him, or made him, the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, and that contract doesn't start until next year with the record-breaking $60 million per year contract. And if you traded him, there would be major cap implications. If you traded him before June 1st next year, you would have a $103 million dead cap penalty. Well, if it's a post-June 1 cut, it goes down to $42 million, and then the next 3 years adds up to about 50-something million, and then he's off your books. I think it goes 42, 27, 16, 16. 42 hurts, but the next 3 is manageable, especially with the cap keep going up. A couple of issues at play. One, can you find a team that would essentially agree to not complete that trade until June 2nd? Because I don't think you can pre-June 1 trade Dak Prescott and eat $103 million this year. That's pretty damn difficult to do. And 2, are you willing to do that? Do you like Shedeur Sanders enough? Do you like him? Do you like Deion so much that you're willing to go this route? So I do think it's fascinating. I think Shedeur's pretty damn good. I get he comes with distractions, and he would have some things to answer up for. I wasn't a fan of him going on Twitter, talking trash about a former teammate of his, saying, "Who are you? No one even remembers you," whatever all that was. Like every other college player, these teams are gonna grill you hard when they interview you. But if your dad's the coach, I mean, that's not as much that he'll have to handle in terms of the pre-draft process. So, listen, I think it's a long shot. I'm not sitting here acting like this is going to happen. But compared to even a month ago, if someone would have said a month ago, hey, Jerry Jones might be willing to hire Deion Sanders, you'd say, guys, I know Colorado's having a decent year, but let's relax. Dallas has won 12 games 3 years in a row. We don't even know what's happening with McCarthy. Well, fast forward a month, McCarthy's clearly going to get fired. They could be in position to draft Shedeur, Deion's son, and we know Jerry loves a splash, loves a headline. Is there a bigger headline than hiring Deion Sanders as your head coach? I don't think so. So I can't sit here in good conscience and rule this out. I definitely think it's at least a slight possibility. So we'll continue to discuss this here on 4 Verts. If there's more chatter out there, we definitely we'll continue to bring you the latest on this situation. Again, I want to remind you guys as we get out of here to hit that subscribe button. Once we cross 5,000 subs, we'll try to work in some more live shows. Think of some Thursday night football live streams, some playoff either watch party hangout type of streams, some post-game shows as well as we get into the postseason. So definitely subscribe and rock and roll with us for that. We continue to grow this channel, continue to bring you guys content, and let us know in the comments, what do you make of this primetime to Dallas stuff? You on board? You not? You think there's any chance it happens? Go ahead and let me know. My name is Harrison Graham. We'll see you guys tonight after Thursday Night Football here on 4 Verts.